Hello. How's it going? How we doing, everybody? Oh, what's good? What's new? What's good? What's fresh? How's it hanging? We got Fizz. What's up, Fizz? Is it just you right now? I think it's just you right now. That's okay. Hi. Good to see you. It sounds like you need to go to bed very soon. If it's 3 a.m. there, you're in Malaysia, I think. Just very neat. If it's 3 a.m. there, and you super. Start and stream off right. What's up, Super? Good to see you, buddy. What's up, Skidney? Oh my god. Super Tonic announcing his own presence in great fashion. Yeah, Fizz, you have requested feedback, so we're gonna just skip the whole stream beginning thing. Drum solo. Jesus. We're gonna skip our normal preamble because if you have to get up in if I had to get up in 3 hours, I just wouldn't go to sleep. I would just hang out. Oh my god, Fizz. Do you want feedback or do you want a drum solo? Which one do you want? Oh, stream is so active right off the bat. I love it. But how are we doing, everybody? You want the drum solo first? Okay, what do you want a drum solo on? We can do that. We can absolutely do that. While you pick something for me to play a drum solo over, or nothing at all if you just truly want to just solo. You pick. Well, so do you want like a song or do you want just like a straight, just me to just like jam on drums for a little while? But how's everybody doing? Everybody else, as we're all filing, just straight jamming? Okay. All right. We can do that. Drop a guitar solo and we're just, I mean, you guys are in control.
Deploying flashbang.
Jesus Christ, you guys.
Deploying flashbang.
Super, you're gonna break everything if you're not careful. Oh my god. Okay, I'll tell you what. Extremely chaotic beginning. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'm just going to just solo on the drums. I don't even really know what to do. And then we're going to do feedback for Fizz, and then Super, if you want solos on guitar, and then subsequently on bass. Sure, why not? I'll just show off for the first 20 minutes of stream. Breakcore? Shit, okay. What's up, Unknown? How's it going, buddy? It's the missing person. If it's breakcore, I'll play along to something. You know what I want to play along to? Just for S's and G's. We're gonna play along to one of my favorite electronica tunes, which is a classic. And it's not really like a breakcore tune per se, but you can play it breakcore very easily. This is a track I actually want to work up a live looping arrangement for. A true classic, you know? All right, I'll stop butchering Aphex Twin now. Was that breakcore enough for you? God, I wasn't even paying any attention to chat. What's up, Tony? We are so back, absolutely. Skidney, how's it going? What's up, Nose? Good to see everybody.
Unknown 5 Mystery wants feedback on their song.
All right. Woo! What's up, the Mersk? How's it going? Chat is utter... Chat is utter chaos so far today, and I love it. We absolutely love it. Okay, hang on. Let's come back here, and then let's go. Did I hear C? I have not heard C yet. All good. I whipped up something for feedback, and I don't know what to do with it next. Fantastic. Very neat. Well, I'd be happy to check it out. Nose, game plan for the next track? That's a good question. This week, I think at some point. Let's see here. What all do we even have on the docket right now? Today, we're going to be finishing a tune for Salvage. If you guys remember the goofy 60s thing we were working on last week, that got a hearty thumbs up from the developer for that game, so that's good news. We like that. That means we get paid and we get to keep, paying our rent and having a job. That's pretty neat. What else is on the docket? We've got Nose coming up. We've got potentially something else for the point and click. I also just booked a piece for a fantasy project. So that will be coming later this week, I think. So yeah, I think the goal for this week is finish the tune for Salvage today, and then next track for Nose for Broken, the record Nose and I are working on together, and then this fantasy thing. I think those are our 3 goals for the week. But before we can get to any of that, or the guitar solo that I owe Super, or the bass solo that I owe Super, redeemed at the beginning of stream because you guys are Chaos Gremlins and I am fully here for it. Let's go ahead and pull up. Let's go ahead and pull up. Let's see here. Let's pull up feedback, shall we? And we're going to start with Fizz, and we're going to jump straight into it because Fizz needs to go to sleep. Because Fizz is a crazy person who is watching this at like 3:15 in the morning, and where Fizz lives, and so we're gonna get that out of the way for him so he can go and get some rest. Because apparently he has to get up at 6 a.m., which is just crazy. Hi Fizz. Okay. Let's check out Fizz's track, shall we? I assume this also for the Roblox game. Recently bought a new item, Truthier Hexa. Now I'm music doodling. I want to know more about mixing. Here's an example of very bassy music, I think, that I just did. What is a Truthier Hexa? What is this device that you speak of? High performance in-ear monitoring. Oh, okay, cool. So got some new IEMs. Ooh, those are fancy looking. Very neat. Okay, well, congrats on the new toy. I love that. This one is F and F. It's the Nose and Bora. It's true. Okay, gotcha. So this is not for the Roblox game then. Oh, I didn't mean to skip there. I meant to just pause. Birdland, I just saw you drink some water. I think that came in while I was playing drums. I'm so sorry. Damn. Great work, man. Is orange juice a soup? These are all legitimate questions, you guys. If gazpacho is soup, I mean, if gazpacho is soup, then a Bloody Mary is certainly soup. Beer, I think you could argue, is more of a tea. I think soup kind of inherently requires ingredients to some extent. Liquid jam. Nice. Fizz, fantastic little track here. I think it sounds excellent. I think the balance overall is great. That bass sound is really, really nice. And you, like the vocabulary that you come from and you're kind of, yes, banged. Absolutely. Agreed. Fully, Tony. I know that the perspective that you bring to your production is very much like, it has a lot of old school game influence, which I absolutely love. And you're very good at nailing that sound. My really only like critique piece of feedback for you, it feels pretty heavily compressed overall as a mix, especially in the big full sections. And I think I'm losing, you have a lot of synths and just different elements like the synths, even like the treble component of your bass sound. What's up, Zico? How's it going? What's up? God, that is a 90s throwback. No one in here gets that joke. Just fucking dating myself over here. I think a lot of your, I'm doing great, man. A lot of your synth elements, a lot of your, just always do the, okay, yeah, see, Super gets it. Always just do exclamation point feedback, Zico, because I have the queue set up through that Google form. Like, as I receive you guys' form responses, that's kind of what builds the queue. So if you don't, just exclamation point feedback is perfect. I think there's 2 other tracks in right now after this one, and then you will be on deck. What's up, Sample? Oh my God, we got the whole gang in here today. I love it. So the whole mix overall, yeah, I already said that. Feels a little bit compressed.
Sample Talk wants feedback on their song.
And you have a bunch of 420. There you go. You have a lot of synths and like the cymbals and your drum elements are all kind of sitting in a similar frequency spectrum. Is the other thing that I noticed a lot here. And so when you have that kind of stuff going on, and then you're also really heavily compressing the mix, it just starts to feel a little bit indistinct. A lot of those elements kind of start to, a little bit of frequency clashing. And what you can do, and this is why I brought up the retro game thing. The way I normally handle that when I have a lot of bright, attacky elements in a mix like this is I use stereo imaging, right? So I'll take certain synths and I'll pan them hard left, pan them hard right. That gets away from the like classic game sound. So if you're specifically going for that vibe with this track, that might be something you don't want to lean into as much. And you might think about EQing things a little differently, or voicing chords a little bit differently, taking some of those synths and putting them more mid, pulling back some of the high end. Never pan your bass. You can get away with some stereo imaging on the top end of your, like the frequency or the treble frequencies in your bass sound. So like if you have a really gritty, like a Cerami bass patch, let's say, that has a lot of like, sparkle fizz to it, you can sometimes do some stereo work with the top end, but your fundamental bass sound, you always want mono. You always want straight up the middle. 99 times out of 100. There's maybe some exceptions to that in really creative production stuff. But generally speaking, we want our kicks to be very present in mono. We want our bass elements to be very, very mono and very in the middle, at least in the low end. We want our snares to be in the middle, and we want our vocals to be in the middle. Generally speaking, those are all really good rules. Not rules, but good things to keep in mind. So yeah, I would go into your session. I would maybe bring all of your tracks in your session down just a touch, 3 dB, so that you're hitting your master output a little bit less hard and compressing it a little bit less hard. And then I would just go through your sense and be like, okay, how many of these are really present in that, 2, 3, 4, 5K region, right? The 6K, that like kind of upper mids, lower highs, the real bright kind of harsh frequencies, and see if you can pan some things, if you can revoice some things, if you can change some chords to just open that part of the frequency spectrum up a little bit. I think you'll be in excellent shape. But overall, like the groove, the energy is great. The transitions are excellent. The arrangement is excellent. It's a killer track. It's super, super fun. And I had myself and I think everyone else in chat bouncing up and down. So thank you for sharing, as always, and great job. I love the fast part. Which fast? The whole thing's the fast part. No, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Okay, so we have a bunch of other feedbacks, I think. Oh, yeah, we already have 5 more in queue. Super, you redeemed a guitar solo and a bass solo and now a video react. I don't know what order to handle these things in. How's the mixing compared to your other works? Good. I mean, everything that I've heard from you so far has been really consistent in that it is really quite good. That's pretty indeed unknown. Well, I agree with you. Everything I've heard from you has been very you're fun at the solos. Okay, only do the video react. That's fine. Thank you. I'm like, I'll solo for you if you want. No, everything I've heard from you, Fizz, has been really consistent and consistently really good. Me saying, like, talking about the harshness and all that stuff is really nitpicking and, giving you very high level mix feedback. I think overall it sounds really quite good, and all your stuff has always sounded really quite good. What's the problem with Spotify? Oh, dear. I'm just going to link a video in chat. That is
it was extreme.
Yeah, don't get me started. We're just going to link this video in chat because it's an excellent video that everyone should watch. Go watch that and you'll find out exactly what. Very long story short, they are intentionally pushing AI music to try to pay musicians exponentially less. They're training AI music on people. Hello, Dad, over on the YouTube side. Welcome and thank you so much for tuning in. I moved to Qobuz. Excellent. Tell me what you think of it. I've heard good things about Qobuz. Very, very shortly and simply, because I will go on a 2-hour rant about it if I'm not careful. They're doing everything in their power to pay musicians nothing. They're doing everything in their power to push AI music on their platforms so that they don't have to pay anyone anything. They are disincentivizing artists at every turn. When you sign up and put your music on Spotify, you grant them an irrevocable, perpetual license to do whatever they want with your music, include train AI, sub-license it, sell it, and they don't owe you anything. Their terms of service are nightmarish. And all of that goes in service of making them billions of dollars, which they are using to fund AI drone warfare development. Literally, Daniel Ek, the former CEO, although he's still heavily involved in the company, is the primary shareholder in a drone AI warfare company that is making murder drones. And most of Spotify's profits are getting funneled into venture capital for that and similar ventures. So they're literally stealing from musicians, ripping off musicians, and then using their massive profits to fund drone warfare. Awful company, horrible company. Go watch the video that I linked in chat. Yeah. YouTube Music is exponential. Literally any other platform is better. Spotify is the main offender here. There's issues with other platforms. YouTube Music is doing AI training. SoundCloud's doing AI training. But Spotify is just particularly egregious because they are literally going out of their way as aggressively as they can to steal and pillage and pay people nothing and totally devalue music and screw up the industry as much as possible. And all of that is in service of AI drone warfare very directly. So yeah, go watch the video. There's a ton of great info in there. And it's also Jeremy from Red Means Recording, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels. He's hilarious. We love him. So anyways, okay, quick video react, and then we're going to keep going with some feedback for folks. Super. Oh, God.
Yo,
Juby, yay.
What are you doing?
nothing. See and watch.
Yeah. Yes, super. That's very funny. What's up? Indeed. Okay, so everybody does get this joke. I'm not maybe as old as old as I thought. We're not gonna. That's very funny, but we don't have time. I have so much feedback to do, and then we actually really have to get work done today as well. Thank God I'm hopped up on my cold brewed jasmine tea, which is oh so delicious. Okay. Let's keep jamming on some feedback here for people, and then we will get into jasmine soup. Absolutely, we will get into working on finishing out this track for Salvage, which is going to be really fun. We get to do some very cool orchestration, sci-fi scoring stuff today, which is going to be excellent. Officially changed my desktop environment to Hyperland. Well, that's neat. It's good to see you, Juby. I've missed you. Okay, up next for feedback, we are looking at the Mursk. How's it going, friend? Let's see here. We've got level 5 producer, plays some piano. Excellent. Working in Ableton. Very unfinished, and I don't know where to take the track next. Very cool. Well, let's see if we can come up with some ideas for our good friend Mursk here.
See Gelly, I like this.
Okay. Sick, man. Great start. Very, very, very groovy. I love the groove. I love what you're doing with the kicks. Boom, 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 you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, ideas on where to take it. I'm honestly kind of the wrong guy to ask because I don't do much in this style. My suggestions are always going to be very probably kind of weird for genres like this. Like the thing that I could hear being really cool in this is, I always say, a layer of acoustic drums or like a breakbeat or kind of funk sample. Like I would play, and let's just see how it sounds very briefly. And it might give you an idea in some direction. But like, again, this stuff is, I can critique the mix for sure. And the mix sounds really, really good so far. I think it's totally like unmastered, but like, not even breakbeat necessarily, but like a very like something that reminds me of like the like Rob Dugan stuff from like the Matrix soundtrack. I always feel like I want to hear like a really massive, heavy, all right.
When I see Gelly, I like this.
I don't know. Something really big in it, like a big rock groove almost. Like if you could find a sample like John Bonham or something. Juby, I'm not even going to ask what that sentence means. I feel like that could be cool, especially if it's like really distorted and like super crushed out, like, and with a different sound to it. Like, where's a good, let me try a different preset here. Yeah, like really, 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 really heavily, yeah, something like that. Let me hear that in context. And it's probably a different snare sound, but just for the sake of argument. You know, I don't know. Something like that could be kind of interesting. That, I feel like that's always my idea that I give you guys, but that's no worries, Fizz. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. Yeah, go get some sleep for Christ's sake. How's it going, Jonathan Hart? Good to see you. You can submit for feedback by using !feedback. In chat is a chat command that'll get you a link to a little Google form. That you, if you don't mind just filling that out real quick, that'll get you in queue. It just lets me know more about you as a producer, how much experience you have, what the track is for, what you're looking for specific feedback on, etc. Let me go back to not insano mode on the drums here. Okay. That would be one idea for you, just to add like a little bit more interest to the groove, I guess. Other than that, your sound design is so good. I feel like just kind of more like just keep going, just keep iterating. Transitions, dropping in and out. I like the little vocal chops. You could bring those back in and do interesting things with them. That's another kind of a fun idea, I guess, that you could play with that I like to do sometimes is like chopping up a vocal and almost treating it like it's a drum groove is a thing that I do sometimes that can give some really, really interesting effects. So you could take one of those chops and find like a really, like a word with a heavy consonant, like a k or a duh sound or something like that, and think of that like a snare drum and chop it and like drop that in to mirror parts of your drum track. So that it almost gets away from being any kind of like words and more just becomes like vocalizations that are worked into the drum groove. Rhythm stuff like this is always, how's it going, Frun? What's up, friend? Rhythm stuff like this is super cool, but it's so textural and it's so groove oriented. It's hard to, what's up, Joe? How's it going, buddy? Assign each chord to a drum on your E-drums. I mean, one could do that. Absolutely. What's happening? What's happened? Remix XL, how's it going? If somebody just followed, thank you. I'm not getting an update, but that's my follow thing that happens. Oh no, I'm an ad. I'm so sorry. I actually don't do that. Right. Anyways, so yeah, other than that, It's a great track, man. It's a great start to a track, Mursk. It sounds really, really nice. Your sound design's on point. I think it's a great start, and I would love to hear where you go with it, and kind of where you take it. So thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, man. Very, very much. Oh, thanks, Remix. So if anybody else is looking for feedback, go ahead and use exclamation point feedback in chat. And that will get you a link to the Google Doc. If you don't mind filling that out for me real quick, it's just a little form, tells me more about you as a producer, like what your track is for, whether or not you're... oh yeah, sorry, Fren. You can also just use the link that Remix just got there. But yeah, it just lets me know that stuff, like what you're looking for specific feedback. No worries, Mursk. Thank you for hanging out, and go have fun murking some people on CS. And yes, my pleasure. That is what I am here for. Thanks, Birdland. Have a good one, friend. Welcome back anytime. Okay, on that note, oh, what was that? Juby, thank you for the sub, friend. I really appreciate it. You're the best. Thank you, Juby. That's very generous of you. Back at you with my money. There you go. Boom. Well, you're awesome, and I really appreciate the support. That's very kind of you. Best contact library for horror ambiance? That's a great question. I have the Native Instruments like complete ultimate collector or whatever. So I use Thrill a lot. I use Mysteria a lot. Are both really great. Obviously, Heaviosity Damage is excellent. There's another one. Let me think. Let me look at what I have. I don't have many third-party contact libraries. I mostly just use the NI stuff and the Arturia stuff. But let me skim through my things real quick here, and we will see what all I have, and if there's anything else I can think of. Yeah, Heaviosity Damage. Ethereal Earth is excellent from Native Instruments. It's more on the like paddy side, but it's got a lot of really like very cool textural stuff that can work really well. Not as much in like the Doom direction, but in like big ambient, like Silent Hilly stuff. It's excellent. Evolve Mutations is great. Definitely more in the Doom direction. But honestly, I am always trying to make these sounds myself. When it comes to this stuff, I'm always reaching for, the 8-string. I'm reaching for acoustic drums, and then just doing a lot of processing. Because a lot of these libraries, that's exactly what they are doing. Oh, thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Oh, thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we try on drums. Yeah, the section to submit the link is the second field on the form. Where it says link to your song, anything but Spotify is fine. If you missed it, that's totally cool. When I come around to you in a little bit here, you can just drop it in chat. That's okay as well. But anyways, yeah, if you have the option, you have a couple of real instruments lying around, making those sounds yourself is super, super fun and actually not all that hard. You can, simple distortion, saturation, kind of weird effects like choruses, tremolos, phasers. These are all really fun things to play with. And can get you a lot of mileage in building your own interesting sound effects. Bit crushers, obviously. Never be afraid to experiment. Grab a mic, even if it's just a cheap, like a webcam mic or a headphone mic or something. Go into your kitchen, find a cookie sheet, bring it in, bang on it with a ladle. I don't know. There's a zillion different ways to make really interesting sounds, and that way it sounds completely and organically just like you. And not like anybody else. So yeah, just some thoughts on that. Well, let's keep cooking with feedback here, shall we? We've got Unknown Mystery with C. as in the ocean. Let's give it a peek. Actually, I do think we've heard sea before, Unknown. That's okay, though. Now that I hear it again, I recognize it. Hey, Jekyll, how's it going, buddy? That's okay, Unknown. There's a lot of people in chat who haven't heard it, so. And it's a great tune. It's true. Well, and this is, I'm actually kind of glad you shared that because of all the stuff you've shared with me, Unknown. That track is, I really, really like because you did a great job of capturing the vibe. I remember the first time I heard it, we were talking about like, it gives me cozy game vibes, which like, you know, a lot of your tracks, I have said that about, which is an awesome thing. It's a great like market to be in. But this one in particular, you really captured the vibe of like, oh, it's a mermaid village under the ocean that's very sleepy and you're, you know, doing whatever game mechanics are at hand. And that, like, it just goes to show you don't need a lot of elements, a lot of really complex chord changes, sample libraries, anything like that to convey a vibe. Because this, to me, feels extremely oceany. It feels very underwater. It feels very cool. It's very relaxed, and it immediately evokes all of that kind of imagery. Consider the beach scene and something like early Zelda. Yeah, 100%. Like, just sonically, it makes you think of waves because there's, you know, a little bit of reverb on everything. It's a little shimmery. It's a little watery. And then you have the two sounds. One is kind of a synthy thing, but then the other thing is very reminiscent of a steel drum, from the Caribbean music traditions. And so it immediately feels beachy or sort of islandy or oceany because you chose that sound. And then the composition, and you're doing little what we call chromatic enclosures, right? Where, these like fun little enclosures where you're walking around the notes in your melody. Here, let me pull up a keyboard. Right, so like over a C major chord, you're doing things like that, where even though that G flat, that F sharp isn't in your C major scale, we call that an enclosure. When you play either chromatically or diatonically, doesn't matter. But when you play notes around a note to help the ear target that note, we call that an enclosure. It's a great melody writing technique. And that it gives it a certain sense of going away and then coming back and resolving, and going away and coming back and resolving, just like waves coming in and out. So it's a smart track, and I like it a lot for that reason. So yeah, I just wanted to recap those thoughts for everybody, because it looks like we have a bunch of new folks in here today, which is awesome. All are welcome. So I wanted to talk about that real quick, because you're very good at that kind of stuff. But we're looking forward to yes, Waves of a Sea, exactly. We're looking forward to many more great tracks from Unknown down the road. Mind if you send something
Skinny
old
wants
with a
feedback
bad
on this
mix?
song.
Not at all. Not at all, GB. Now I want to make C music. Absolutely. I think it's neat. I like it, but it's a bad mix. That's fine. All mixes are welcome here, even if they're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. My mixes are never perfect. Well, and since we've got like, yes, Frun, we will get to you ASAP. And actually, Super, I'm going to go ahead and ask that you pin a comment to close feedback for the time being, because we already have 10 people in queue here. And I do actually have real work to get done today on some actual commissioned game scoring stuff that we'll be doing shortly here on stream. But thank you guys so much. What a wonderful and enthusiastic start to stream. What I was going to say is, if you are new, welcome. Thank you for stopping by, but I will give you guys my quick spiel so you kind of know what the deal is around here.
Supertonic wants feedback on their song.
Super, you have a song? That's crazy. Oh, wait, no, that was probably you pinning the comment. Hi, I'm Nathan Scott. Thank you guys very much for stopping by. I am a full-time professional producer, composer, multi-instrumentalist, mix master, engineer. I do all kinds of stuff. I've been in the music business as a career professional for 16 years now. I've worked on tons of records. I've worked on games, all, commercial production, TV, film, all this kind of stuff. Mostly what my stream is about is certainly giving feedback for people on their mixes and compositions, but also me doing commissioned client work. So I write music for video games, I do artist production, and I hang out, I make tracks that I have been hired to make live on the air. I talk about my process, how I write, how I produce, how I mix, how I master. I talk about the plugins I use, software, answer questions about anything and everything from anybody about creating music, no matter how basic or, advanced or whatever. You guys are streams popping. Quick, Nathan, say the line. Yeah, exactly. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, feel free to follow. I'm on all the major social platforms at @NathanScott, and I do shorts and all this kind of stuff. Cut down from what we do here on stream. So please, we also have a Discord server. You can do !Discord to get yourself an invite. Very cool community over there. You'll get pinged every time I go live. So by all means, you are all welcome. And we try to be educational and informative. At this point, chat is going so quickly because there's like 20 some odd people in here, which is awesome. And I'm having a bit of trouble keeping up. I'm just going to say that now. But so if I missed something from somebody, I do apologize. He also does pants, not just shorts. That's very true. But we're going to keep cooking with feedback here right quick. Just to let everybody know what the queue is looking like. Right now, we're going to take a look at a track from Produced by Zico. Up next is going to be Sample Talk, then Skidney, then Jonathan Hart, then Remix XL, then Frun, then Skidney, we usually only do one piece of feedback per user per stream, especially today since we have so many people in queue. But I stream, that's another thing I should have said. I stream Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern US time, and we always start stream with feedback. So I'm happy to listen to as many tracks as you want to share. We just do limit it to one per person per stream just to make sure everybody's got a chance. And then finally in queue right now is Juby. Okay, anyways. Thank you guys very much. This is just such a lively crew in here today. All right, up next, produced by Zico. We've got a brand new producer working in FL. It's a good track, I guess. Indeed, I love it. Looking for feedback on pretty much anything. So let's give it a check out, shall we? Oh, wrong button. Here we go. Bloodbath. I have a feeling this is going to be a different vibe from Unknown's track. Finally figured out how to make good guitars. Okay, cool. Work in progress commission. What's the game? Just, briefly.
Each of us lives dependent and bound by our individual knowledge and our awareness. All that is what we call reality.
Okay, gotcha.
Both knowledge and awareness are equivocal. One's reality might be another's illusion.
Very nice, man. Very, very cool. I love the groove. I love the intro. I love all the textures that you're pulling from. Those are some very, very cool libraries, and very excellent placement of those sounds. Most of my thoughts for you, at least at this stage, there's a couple. First of all, that vocal spoken word sample is very cool. I would, not saying don't include it, that's the kind of thing you absolutely want to run by the developers before you include it. Because when it comes to game scoring, the thing that we always have to really keep in mind and think a lot about is player experience, right? So when I am working on anything for a game, which I'm pulling up a track that I did for Ares because I want to show you guys something slightly separate, more in terms of the mix. But the thing that is always at the front of my mind working on any game, whether it's something like Ares, which was stealth action, whether it's a fantasy game, like, you know, RPG, whatever, is always what is the player going to be doing while the track is playing, right? And more often than not, especially when it comes to, okay, yeah, vocals will be for the trailer. Yeah, for sure. That makes good sense. And this is, I mean, it's not even just about the vocals. This is just kind of a general thought for you to always keep in mind. You always want to be thinking about player experience from the perspective of how busy is the player, or how, hey, Papa, how's it going? How busy is the player, or how, you know, like what's the use case, right? So for a combat track, which this definitely has the feeling of like a combat or potentially an exploration track, but more on the combat side. You know, if it is a game like, for instance, I mean, Doom to a certain extent, or like I always think of Destiny or Warframe, really mechanics heavy games, the player is going to be very focused on not the music. And so you want the music to be there to create a vibe, right? You don't want it to be distracting. You don't want it to be taking up too much room, because the player's thinking about enemy counts, ability spam, inventory management, you know, the 9 million other things that you think about when you're playing a game. And so it's always kind of a fine balance to ride when writing game music of like, I want this to be groovy. I want this to create a vibe. I want this to be musically interesting and stand on its own as a piece of music, but also it's got to kind of slot into this really specific shape. And I think overall, you've done that really, really well. I just wanted to mention it because vocals would be, especially like this, where it's a really clear spoken word thing. That's something where, like, if there's dialogue from, say, a mission commander type character who's like, oh, look out for the thing, or, oh, your mini map has just updated. Like, obviously that's going to clash, right? Because there's vocals, you know, multiple people sort of talking over each other. I think if they have a version without vocals, that's perfect, and works really, really well. So the second thing I wanted to talk about, it does feel extremely compressed at the moment. And I think that it's resulting in, and then it feels like the drums are a little low in comparison to the guitars. And what's happening is that your whatever limiting or compression or normal maximization you have on your master output in your session is really squashing the guitars down, and that's pushing the drums even further into the back on it. Okay, so are you working in FL? Yes, you are. So FL, I don't use FL, so I don't know this, but for a fact, everything I hear from FL, it seems like FL does a fair amount of internal limiting on the master bus, whether you want it to or not. I don't know if that's a feature or something you can turn off, but it's something that I notice where people who work in FL, even if they don't feel like they're using a ton of compression on the master, everything tends to feel compressed. And so my assumption is that FL does some kind of automatic limiting on export. So you just always want to make sure that you've got plenty of headroom below 0 on your master output. I honestly should get FL and mess around with it so that I can speak with a bit more authority on why this is happening to folks. But yeah, I'm losing a lot of the impact and a lot of the transient on the drums. Like there's a lot of good bass energy in the kick, but it feels less like boom and more like whoom. And the snare isn't kind of like cracking and in your face as much as I would probably like it to be. The guitars sound excellent. I'm pretty sure you're using the Mick Gordon library 9-string thing. I think we've talked about this before. So like overall, the arrangement is excellent. The parts are great. The groove is great. The sound design is good. Like you've got a ton of really, really good stuff. I think it works perfectly for the use case, right? And this would be great for a trailer. All that's awesome. I think just, guitar is down a little bit. Look at how you're handling your compression. Maybe it's on your drum bus. Maybe it's on the master output, something like that. It feels a little crushed. My meters look a little bit pegged. So I would go for a little bit more headroom, a little bit more dynamic range in the mix overall. But it reminded me of this track, Cavern, which I did for Aries, which I'll play a little bit of just so you can kind of hear when I do things roughly in this style. Not quite as heavy. What's up? What's up, Opal Wins? Good to see you, man. Yeah, and then like later on it comes back to like some of that same guitar stuff. So like in the mix, I'm really focusing mostly on the kick because that's a big part of what's going to drive the energy like forward for the player. I tend to mix pretty drum heavy in general anyways. But that's kind of how I like to balance more in favor of those rhythmic elements because they're what's going to cut through, right? A bunch of busy gameplay. When there's explosions going on and gunfire and all this stuff, having things with good transients and like really snappy, like a big problem is finding a good kick for this type of track. Yeah, for sure. And it takes some crafting. You know, I always, when I am layering kicks, and that might be something that you want to look into and play with is layering kicks, right? So instead of just trying to find one great kick sample, find a kick sample, the attack of which you really, really like. that's nice and snappy. Maybe it's not perfectly, thick and rich, but it's got really good, thwack to it or knock to it. And then find a second sample that has really big, thick, a big, thick ass on it, nice low end. And, use them together and even like high pass the first kick, take all the low end out of it and use it only as like an attack transient element. And then low pass the second kick. And find a nice spot where they can work really, really well together. You can start to build your own sounds that way really easily from samples that you already have. You may already be doing that, but just food for thought. But again, there is a lot to love here. It's a very cool groove, and it's good sound design. I think it's going to work really, really well. I want more. I'm just generally more kind of snap out of the drums and presence out of the drums for it. But anyways, thank you very much for sharing. Excellent work, and I hope the devs are happy with it. I'm pretty confident that they will be, because it's pretty rad. But thank you very, very much for sharing. Okay, let's go ahead and keep cooking here. And I think now we've got some new friends. Sample Talk's been around for a hot minute. And then I think we've got who's up next after Sample Talk? Who's the next couple of people here? After Sample, we've got Skidney, then Jonathan Hart, then Remix, then Frun, and then a couple of people beyond that. But we're going to keep moving here. I may have to abridge, but usually I go pretty in-depth with feedback. I may go a little bit faster since we have so many folks to get to today. But this is from Sample Talk. Sorry, Sample, I am I'm reading your thing. That's lovely. It's very 80s vaporwavy kind of vibes. And I know Sample, this is using this vocal effect that you've figured out how to do. You still have not explained to me exactly what's going on with it. But it's nice. It's very vocoder-esque in a very cool way. Yeah, great melodies, great movement, really, really nice arrangement overall. I like the sound of the vocals a lot. I think it's nice. I feel like you could go actually like a little bit more characterful on the master if you wanted to. Use a little bit of like tape saturation or tape compression kind of a situation, just to give it a little bit more grit, a little bit more character. Could be kind of nice. Yeah, I always feel like when I hear stuff like this, I almost expect there to be like I just use any tape emulation kind of plugin. I love I'm sure I have it in this session somewhere. J37 from Waves is excellent, this guy. I also use OCS 45 a lot from Spectral. I use who else do I use? Even like a heavier compressor. Yeah, OCS 45 is excellent, and I think it's free. But even like a more intense compressor, like a Wolf compressor from Goodhertz, would be really awesome. Just something that like can give it some grit and some like, heft to it, and even introduce a little bit of noise. That's what I was going to say. Like when I hear tracks like this, I almost expect some cassette noise or vinyl noise or something like that. A little bit of hiss, a little bit of organic, nonlinear, going on in the background. So I think compositionally, it's really nice. It could stand to be longer because it's a really lovely vibe. Yeah, the mix balance is really nice. The bass is really rich. Drop is actually a vocal chop. Cool. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, the vocals are super pretty, and I love that kind of fluty DX70 flute sort of patch that you've got as the lead is really nice. The ARP is really, really nice. It's very vaporwavy in a way that I love. This would do really well on like lo-fi vaporwave kind of like playlist type situations, I think. But great job, man. Very, very cool. And you and I will have to connect at some point because I do want to hear about this vocal effect that you've constructed. It's very interesting. And I will read your whole thing and we can chat about it later. But yeah, great job. Thank you, as always, very much for sharing. Up next, Skidney. Look out. We got Skidney. What's going on with Skidney? Play guitar, acoustic guitar, working in FL. Very good. Feedback on more or less everything. I love it. Let's check out Skidney's track. No, it's Lumia. Super. Feedback is run through Lumia Stream. Interesting. Okay, very cool. Yeah, very like Aphex Twinish. In a lovely way. This is very cool. And I think there's some really good ideas in here, but there's one thing that I'm hearing, which this is like weirdly specific, but it actually gives me a great chance to talk about something kind of technical, but something that I think people will find kind of interesting. So the lead sound that you have in here, that wah, 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 it's a cool sound, but I don't know what synth you're using for that or how you've built that sound. But it is a sound that has an extremely resonant filter on it. What is a resonant filter? Well, one of the most foundational components of synthesis is a filter, right? Let's pull up Vital real quick so I can showcase this. Basically, if we just take a very, very simple, we can almost build a sound like this. But if we grab basic shapes and we just have a basic Vital. Okay, perfect. Basic sine wave. And we grab our filter. Let's give this some there we go. That's good. So when we use a filter on a synth, basically it's exactly what it says. It's a filter, so it's either high pass or low pass filter, sometimes a band pass filter, but it's removing different parts of the frequency spectrum, right? And we have resonance on our filter, which in Vital is controlled here. And you can see what it's doing. If we just think of this like an EQ graph, we've got our lows over here, we've got our highs up here. Here, let's actually jump to this view because it'll be a little bit easier for you guys to see. This controls the resonance on our filter. So we can sweep our filter up and down, right? And you see that resonance is peaking right where the point that the filter is coming into effect. And so if we push it all the way up, yes, it gives you that wow, wow, wow kind of a sound, right? And you can hear that resonance point is bringing up that very specific frequency at the top end of our filter. This can be great because it gets us some very lasery kinds of sounds, and we can assign this to all kinds of different things and have the filter do all that. That's all great. The danger, and this is what's happening in your track a little bit, I think, because at first I was like, there's a note in here in your melody that's clashing with the chords. But then I was listening a little longer, and I went, oh, that's the resonance on your filter. So if you set your filter up to have a relatively low, you can hear it right there. Hear how it sounds like there's a second note happening? That's true, Juby. This is how our mouths work. That's very, very good. Depending on how you set up the resonance on your filter, if you set it too low and you set the resonance, like if you set the frequency of the filter too low, and then your resonance is too aggressive and you've got a big spike in resonance like this, it actually creates additional notes and additional, like, not even overtones, but it pulls out of the overtones of your bass sound and creates notes, because pitches, right, are just points on the frequency spectrum like anything else. And EQ can end up affecting the pitch of things, because EQ is pitch, is frequency, are notes. All of this is the same thing, right? This is why I always recommend people don't EQ really aggressively in the low end on like a bass guitar or a bass synth. Because if you start to cut and boost really precisely at like 80 hertz, you're actually turning up and down individual notes in the range of the instrument. And so when it comes to filter resonance, it's great, but you want to be careful with it, because if you can end up with a situation where it actually starts adding notes that you don't intend, or kind of almost creating notes out of nothing. And I think that's a little bit of what you have going on here. because I can hear like the notes that you're playing with that patch, and they're good. They're in key. Your basic chord progression here is like G major to kind of like an F sussy major kind of a thing to E minor, and then a D minor, and then back down to that G, which is quite nice. But there's some element of that lead patch that you've got going on that is introducing notes that are outside of that scale. So I would look at Vital. I think you said Vital was what you used to create that lead sound. And I would go and take that resonance and either, it's going to change the character of the sound a little bit, but I would either back off your resonance here, right, and make it less extreme, or I would move the filter a little bit so that it's not peaking and being super resonant in that note, in that range where it's creating notes. If your filter doesn't look like this, there could also be what we call ring modulation on it. I don't want to, which would be over in here. Is there even actually a ring mod in? Actually, there might not be a ring mod. It could be here with this filter here. There could be potentially a few things. That's what it sounds like to me, though. So it's the resonance on the filter. So I would watch that. And just for anybody else who does a lot of synth heavy stuff, always keep that in mind when it comes to building synth patches. That resonance on your filter and filters in general are awesome, and they're a critical foundational part of how we get synth sounds. But they can, if you get them in an odd spot, they can actually kind of interfere with the fundamental harmonic content of what you're trying to do. So that's my main thought for you. Other than that, it's a really nice vibe. I think I would just think about how the track is evolving. Right now, it feels a little bit static. It feels a little samey from front to back. You've got nice melody stuff that's changing a little bit, but the chord progressions are up. Juby, very nice. The chord progression stays the same, which is okay, but I wish like maybe the drums came in and out, or maybe different drum elements showed up. A ride cymbal came in, or the drum kit got a little bit busier in terms of all the notes and stuff that it's playing, or bring an additional percussion element. I think could be nice. Like there, you drop the snare out, which is good. But don't be afraid to even drop the drums out entirely, or, listen to how the energy of the track changes if I just add an additional groove. Like even adding that ride cymbal. It just lifts the track to a slightly different space. At the end, it added a really subtle E. Yeah, okay. Hush, SoundCloud. Yeah, and that's definitely cool. But I want a little bit more evolution out of it. I want it to take me on a bit more of a journey. It's a great vibe. But I kind of want it to go just more places as it goes along. But yeah, cool chord progression, really cool sounds. It's very mellow. Like I said, very like Aphex Twins, very Boards of Canada, all stuff that I love. But I'd work on that lead tone a little bit, and then just think about, how else can we like make this a bit more of a journey and go a few more places with it, instead of just kind of hanging out in one common groove or space the whole time. Maybe that's stuff coming in, maybe that's stuff going out, maybe that's adding. yeah, I don't know. Just my 2 cents. But very, very nice track though. And thank you very much for sharing. Okay. Getting right along here. Up next, we have Jonathan Hart. Thank you guys for your patience here. But as you can see, we like to kind of go in depth and try to use things as educational platforms. Excellent. Oh, thank you guys. I'm so glad. Jonathan, I think you were asking earlier about the link. You can drop it in chat now because I am seeing where in the it's like link to your song. Anything but Spotify is fine. Why not Spotify? They're an awful company. And you wrote, I totally agree. So we're already friends in that regard. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Remix. I appreciate it. Okay, excellent. Is this gonna... Oh, nope, not that. Title Superior, absolutely. All right, this is from Jonathan Hart. Ooh. Okay. This is sick. This is fantastic. I'm just calling it now while I'm thinking about it. This is great, and it sounds excellent overall. The kick is a bit strong, I think, just volume-wise. I think the kick is maybe a little bit, at least in my system in my room, is translating as being a little bit more out front than I think it might need to be. It's a great sounding kick, but if I were working on this, I'd pull that back like 2-3 clicks. Other than that, it's great groove and great layering of you layer drums like I layer drums, and it sounds awesome. Perfect place to drop a vocal sample. I might have to play drums on this just for fun. If Jonathan's okay with it, of course. Reminds me of the first Gran Turismo game. Ignore my piano. What a sick track. Oh my God, this sounds so good. Yeah, literally like my only Avia. Oh hey Avia, how's it going? My only comment on it really is that kick, just like it's like a teeny bit hot. But it's great. I also just like as an idea, I do feel like there's room up high for something. That's why I pulled up the piano sound. Because I kind of was craving like the classic, like I always call it like the French house thing, but just something like that up high, which is literally just like modal A flat minor and then up a half step to A minor. Kind of a vibe could be cool, or you know, there's like a bunch of different chords that would work to drop in like later on. Yeah, not necessarily, not something solo-y, because you've got just like vibe here. Just, you know, great vibe. But I love that move. That's like a classic house track thing. It's just like a minor 9 chord and then just move it up a half step. Is really nice. But yeah, it's fantastic, man. Great job. Expertly arranged. The mix sounds awesome. Great groove, great layering of drums. It has such great classic, like liquid break vibes to me. I'd listen to this on repeat all day. It's fantastic. I would play drums. We have a bunch of other people just jam to it because it would be fun. And I might circle back around to that because it's so good. But there are a bunch of other people in queue, so I do want to keep scooting along. But great job, Jonathan. Absolutely great job. It sounds fantastic, and I love it and everything about it. Everybody, go follow this guy on SoundCloud right now, and all other applicable platforms. But thank you for sharing, man. No, I appreciate you. I love it. Excellent. Okay, let's keep cooking, and then maybe a little later we can take a quick drum break to jam along to that because it's a great track. Remix XL, you are up. What's happened? Oh, super. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the gifted. Very, very kind of you. Super is our resident gifter, and we love him for it. Blow up Super in chat. Okay. We have Remix XL here. Coming in, level 3 producers, so newer to the game. Very good. Welcome to the club. You play guitar, working in FL, production, you're looking for feedback, kind of anything. I did it for fun. Heart of a Fallen King. Okay, very interesting. What Remix, what sample libraries are you using here for your orchestral sounds? Okay, very cool. Oh, and yes, super. They should be on the way. True. Very true, super. What's up, Conrito? How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. That's funny. I was about to make a melody suggestion, and then you did exactly what I was going to suggest. Beautiful, man. Very, very nice. Yeah, that's beautiful. I think, yeah, like for a game, for a movie, for underscore, this is excellent. It nails a vibe, which is a very important thing to be able to do. If you were going for more of a composition, I'd say you could sneak outside of the key here in some ways, in some spaces. Because that's the interesting thing about music like this. If it's for a game application or a film application, and like it's called Heart of a Fallen King, for a cutscene where the king has died, nailed it, absolutely nailed it. There is some room, I think, for maybe a touch more. Go to that A major, that inverted A major, play off that C sharp. Right? Yeah, not much harmonic variation. Absolutely. And that really goes into since you just wrote this for fun, it's awesome. But I'm always thinking about story-wise when I'm writing stuff like this for games. Story-wise, what else, what other vibes are there? What would that be? There's so many. Wait, hang on. No, I just had a thing. Right. Something like that. And just playing with chromatics more, right? Yeah, just some subtle variations. And this style really slow, and because you have just that extended melody in the upper voices, just kind of doing that shape, which I think is great. And then at the end, what I was going to say is you can always go or take that to a new place as well. But when you're expanding on an idea like that over and over and over again, it gives you so much room to do so many interesting things harmonically. Pull it major at some point. I mean, there's a million different directions you can go. And a lot of that stuff, again, I always look at through the lens of why am I writing the piece? What's the story surrounding it? So that can be trickier to do when you're kind of writing in a vacuum or just for fun or for yourself. But everything else about it, and that's not a criticism, by the way, at all. Mixing sounds excellent. YouTube compression is kind of making it sound a bit MP3-ish, but I don't think that's you. I think that's YouTube. Mixing is great. Balance is great. Excellent dynamics, but everything is still very audible, which is hard to do. I don't know how much articulation or key switching you get into. Everything's very just sort of sostenuto the whole time, which is, sparse war drums. That's a great idea. So we're just here and there on some timps or on, war drums. I use action strikes all the time. It's great. But like, again, as a piece with that title for that track, I wouldn't change a damn thing. I think it's fantastic. I'm not saying any of this like, oh, you should rewrite this or redo it or it's bad in any way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to give you ideas for next time, things to think about and things to keep in mind. And one of my favorite things to do, if I'm in a lucky position to have work in stuff like this, so I kind of always have a new prompt to work on, but don't be afraid to give yourself more complex prompts. You could take stuff from literature or films or whatever, games that you really like, or just think up your own concept. Okay, the heart of a fallen king. Who is the king, and why did he fall? Was he a good king? Was he a bad king? Did he fall because of his evil brother wanted the throne? Did he fall because revolution finally stood up against his tyranny? Did he fall because he tripped on a banana? That's a very good point, Juby. The deeper you can go into those things, it not only gives you a more interesting prompt to work from for yourself. How's Aries going? I mean, I am in the same boat as anybody else. Just waiting for Jack and Noah to say literally anything. We won't talk about it. But yeah, like the deeper you can go with those prompts and those concepts, the better, the more of a challenge it's going to be, and the more meat there's going to be to chew on for your concept and to explore some of those different harmonic directions. But excellent job, man. Excellent job. This is gorgeous. I would drop this into any number of, yes, the music side of Aries is complete for sure. I would drop this into any number of situations, and I think it would work spectacularly well, especially somebody said for a cutscene. It's like an excellent dialogue heavy cutscene option. Because it's static enough that it gets out of the way, but it's beautiful enough, and repetition, right? Repetition's great. Everybody's going to remember that theme. That theme could be the theme for the king throughout the rest of the game. That those 4 notes, that motif could be, yeah. I love it. So, great work. Thank you for sharing. And please stick around, because we're literally going to be doing scoring not exactly like this, more for a sci-fi project, but hybrid scoring in just a little bit here. So thank you, Remix. I really appreciate you sharing. Okay, let's keep cooking here. We've got a couple more in the hopper. We've got 3 more feedbacks. We've got Frun up next, and then we've got, just 2 more. And then we've got Juby. So let's just make sure everyone, thank you guys again for your patience. I know this goes a little slower than a lot of other feedback streams do, but we try to get into it. We try to get into it for people and be as as educational as we can. Frun, are you still in here with us? You are up, my friend. I just want to make sure that you're in chat so that we can chat about your track. Avia, let's get to releasing anything related to Ares 1 before we get excited about Ares 2. Trust me, I would love to have Ares 1 be out there already. I will be honest with you, and I don't mean to throw shade at the guys because I adore them. I haven't heard a word from Jack or Noah for months. Nobody has. I was supposed to get footage to edit a trailer for Ares like 6 months ago, and they kind of just aren't active or responding as near as I can tell to anyone. I think Noah posted something for Christmas. But yeah. Yeah, well, and that remix, I have worked on, I've scored 15, 16 games at this point in my career. I haven't been doing games for very long. I started my career as a touring musician, as a bass player and drummer. Then I started doing more commercial and artist production. I started a recording studio in Denver where I grew up. And I did that for a long time. And then just in the last 3-ish years have I gotten into working on the game side of things. And of those, 16-ish games, I'd have to sit down and really count 14, 15, somewhere in there. One of them has, is finally in pre-alpha through Patreon called Androcosm. Ares has been announced, but nobody knows what's going on with it. There's a few other games that are in the NSFW realm that I can't promote here on Twitch that I did, honestly, for money. And then about 10 of the games, the vast majority of the games, have never been launched. Avia, that is literally like 70% of the games I've ever worked on have been, here's this amazing concept. I write all this great music for this. They pay me thousands, in one case, tens of thousands of dollars, and then they abandon it. And I'm like, okay. I don't I got paid, so I'm happy. But also it's frustrating because you write a lot of really cool music and it just never goes anywhere, never does anything. When you say hybrid scoring, are there certain instruments and techniques they've asked for on this one? Is that directed for me or for Remix? What hybrid scoring means, generally speaking, is that you have orchestral elements as a you have orchestral elements as one element of the score, but you're also doing beats, synths, guitars, drums. Yeah, Avia, we make a living how we got to make a living, you know. That's not true. Remix, you did this. You've absolutely scored. You haven't maybe scored to a specific project, but this is scoring 100%. And you could just hearing this. I'm like, I could give you a prompt right now, or you could go get a project if you want to. If you want to get involved in that remix, head to itch.io and get involved in. You guys have seen me work on some of that stuff. I just don't talk about what it's actually for. Go to itch.io and get involved in a game jam. I might actually even start doing that just to get some stuff that's actually released that I can put on my portfolio. Like, hey, this is actually shipped. I have no shortage of music I've written. Itch.io. Itch.io. That site. It is a game distribution community, sort of like Steam, but they also are the kind of number one source on the internet for game jams. And game jams are like a theme gets selected, and they're sponsored in one way or another. And it's basically a game making competition. So a bunch of different hobbyist developers and sometimes professional developers will get together, and it'll be something like do an analog horror game in a week or in a month, or do a cozy game with functional multiplayer or something like that. And through the itch.io sort of forums and game jam space, teams will form, and it's not necessarily paid work most of the time, but it's a great place to network and meet devs and just get to do projects, especially the shorter ones where it's like an analog horror concept that takes 2 weeks to put together. it's not like you have to write hundreds of pieces of music. You write one or two things and you contribute it to the game. And then you've got something on a portfolio that at least is on Steam potentially or on itch.io that you can show people and say, hey, you can actually download this and play it, and it has my music in it. So I always recommend that. I haven't done many of them myself, but I'm considering doing it this year. Just again, to have some things that I can put on my website that's like, hey, you can actually go play this. Because right now that is very slim pickings. Yeah, absolutely, man. Anywho's Frun, this is last call for, oh yeah, I would for sure stream it 1,000%. Frun 08, Frun 808 rather. Last call for Frun 808. If anyone can, I don't know, whisper them or something. You did not miss anything, Juby. You are next. But we are, Frun, I think, had a YouTube channel that they wanted me to check out, which is I'm happy to, but I do need folks to be here in chat. And just so that we can chat about their track. And of course, if Frun cycles back around here, I'm just going to take a peek at it off stream and kind of see what the vibe is. Do. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, if Frun comes back around, we will take a look at their stuff. But in the meantime, my cat is eating something. I don't know what he's eating, but I hear chewing beneath my feet. And that always concerns me. Toast, what are you eating? What are you doing? I was just going to say. Toast. Oh, there he is. Distraction treats, 100%. We've got Temptations, chicken flavor. Oh, just downloaded Black Hole Reverb. Doesn't it? Isn't it just the best? It's so good. We have a whole emote for it here on chat. Or here on stream. There you go, bud. You're the most famous cat in all of Twitch. There you go. 4 treats for Toast today. We love it. Oh, man. Okay. Juby, the cat of all time, 100%. We have one more feedback track to do, and that is Juby's. We will keep an eye out for Frun. If Frun pops back in, I'm more than happy to check out the track. But that is one of the rules. You gotta be in chat. Cause I have questions like all the time about what you're using and stuff. Okay, Juby. Okay. It's overcompressed. That's fine. Like I said, I'm not gonna, have you ever seen me yell at anyone, Juby? I mean, I tell people things are overcompressed, but I never yell at anyone. At least I try not to. You have no idea. I mean, and actually, you know what? Before we listen to it, Juby, I have a correction to issue for anyone who was watching stream last Friday. We were doing Feedback Friday, and TJ came in with a track, and we were talking about LUFS and loudness, which is a very popular topic around here. And TJ was saying that there is an artist or a guy who had figured out how to get positive LUFS readings, and I said that was impossible. I looked into it, and I was wrong. TJ was completely right. There is a guy out there who has figured out how to distort his music so badly that it creates interpolation issues and intersample peaking, and will actually force a positive LUFS value. I stand by my point that it's not electrically possible. In the analog domain, sort of. It gets complicated. But I do want to acknowledge that I was saying it's not possible to have positive LUFS. Apparently, a guy out there has figured out how to break LUFS. And I do mean break because it shouldn't be possible. But basically, the idea is that if you force a signal to clip so badly digitally that it actually starts sending data that essentially goes above zero in between your samples. So when we talk about sample rate, we're talking about like our most normal sample rate is 44.1 kilohertz. So this is how digital audio gets represented, right? Analog audio is purely an analog nonlinear waveform of alternating current at least when it's in a circuit, or of air pressure when it's in a room. But when it gets taken into the digital domain, you have sample rate and you have bit rate, which is how that waveform gets represented. So your sample rate is how many slices per second your digital device is breaking it into. And then your bit rate is how much information represents each of those samples. 44.1, 48 kilohertz, 96 kilohertz, 88.2, 192, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can have any sample rate, technically. Sample rates also get into the Nyquist frequency, which is a whole other thing. All you need to worry about is that the kilohertz, 44.1 kilohertz, is how many slices per second. And then the bit rate or bit depth is how many bits represent each sample, how many bits of data. So when we say something's at 4416, which is that's what I work at, it's the most common one. That means there's 44,100 slices of information in 1 second of audio. And each of those slices is represented by a 0 to 16 bit integer, right? So what's up, Roller Coaster? How's it going? Basically, what this guy figured out is that you can cause intersample peaking. So peaks that are happening in between those individual samples, where it's like if sample A is 16 and then the next sample is 1 and then the next sample is 16, right? And you're asking your waveform to basically go as hard as it possibly can from one end to the other, that can actually cause it to overshoot and go beyond unity gain, giving you a positive LUFS value. It sounds awful, because you're inherently just destroying the way digital audio is supposed to work, but it will technically give you a positive LUFS reading. I'm fine, just made butter chicken. Oh, I'm jelly. I love a good chicken muckney. Yes, it is insane. But I just wanted to say, TJ was right. I was completely wrong. It is possible. Is it a good idea? No. Does it sound good? No. Is it possible? Yes. And I shouldn't have said it was impossible, because I didn't know. I didn't know people were that crazy and hated ears and speakers that much, but apparently they do. So next time TJ is on stream, I owe him an apology. I still stand by it sounding bad. But, I was actually talking with my dad about this over the weekend. Or was it my dad or was it Callum? I can't remember. It was somebody. Where it's like, we now live in a world where, like, there are so many niches. And I don't think this is like wrong. I just think when I say it's bad or it sounds bad, it's not for me. But like the example track that TJ sent in that was like had a positive LUFS reading just sounded like distortion to me. It also had like 50,000 plays and 1,000 comments on it on SoundCloud. So like there's a market for literally anything. And people were like, oh, this is fire. This is amazing. We live in a world where whatever your creative idea is, if you are dedicated enough to it, you will find an audience. If it's horribly distorted music, or, really crazy, like, whatever it is. Because my buddy Callum also works as an audio engineer for a recording studio back in Colorado, where they don't use compression at all. Ever. They're all about capturing like these beautiful acoustic performances in ultra high detail. And he's like not allowed to use a compressor on his job at all. And they have a whole market. For people who want to hear these like incredibly nuanced acoustic recordings that have no compression whatsoever on them. And it's like, there's markets for both of these things these days. I'm going to nerd out here a little bit because I had to do some digital audio work. Sample is a single numerical value for a single channel. Sure. Frame is a collection of time coincident samples. Okay. For instance, a stereo sound file has 2 samples per frame. Right, yeah. One for the left channel and one for the right channel. A packet is a collection of 1 or more contiguous frames. In linear PC audio, a packet is always a single frame. Very interesting. Yeah, and that is, of course, sample rate when I'm talking about it, as you justly point out, super, applies to a mono stream. For a stereo stream, you would have 2, 2 separate streams of digital information, one for the left channel and one for the right. In the development side, that's probably pretty true. On the recording end, I have heard, yes, on the implementation side, exactly. On my end of things, we don't. I know I didn't know what packets are. I know what frames were, but we don't really think of it in that terms on the audio engineering side. Anyways, sorry, Juby, not to totally derail listening to your track, but we're gonna take a listen to this track from Juby. We'll chat about it, and then we are gonna get into some real work, some actual real scoring work. But we've got our trigger on the volume knob, since apparently this one is pretty loud.
Listen, guys. Next time, shoot first.
I'm a baseline.
Sick. Great groove. Great sound design. Yeah, it definitely gets pretty overblown there at the end. And that's, not to sound like I'm being harsh on it at all, but this is exactly kind of what I talk about when I talk about things being overcompressed, where that you've got that great bass sample in there, but everything's hitting the compressor so hard that it's having to push everything down so much that that's kind of getting lost. And then there's distortion artifacting as well, Right, but you can have an overly compressed kick as an element and still have a mix that's really open, and you can still hear all the other stuff in. Like, that's really the goal, right? But no, the groove is great. Your bass tone is wicked. The arrangement's very, very cool. Also, real quick, the cat wants out of the studio, so I'm going to go let him out real quick. 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Juiced. Yeah. Our co-host has been dismissed for the day. He probably wants to go sleep somewhere where it's not so bright and not loud. It's not loud in here, but no, it's this is a great vibe. This is a very, very great vibe. I also, some drum fills, you know, some cool drum filly stuff is always a good time. I think Feedback Friday turned into Music Monday, or turned into Feedback Monday. There's been no work done for a solid 2 hours. Oh, I expected and planned for it on every single stream now. Because I love doing feedback. It's really fun. And it gives me great fodder to talk about all kinds of different, like, nice little bite-sized things that then I can turn into shorts, right? Trance music, I reckon. That's funny. No, it sounds great, Juby. It's very, very cool. Yeah, drum fills and then just not so much compression. But no, like, I love your sound design, and your bass sounds are always wicked. But thank you for sharing. Anyways. Okay, that is going to do it for feedback for the day. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, do it. Do it, Juby. No. Okay, let's go ahead and transition into proper Feedback Monday. Into getting some proper work done. So, we have been working on this game. The working title for it is called Salvage. It is a third-person shooter sci-fi RPG being developed in Unreal. It is extremely early in the development process. So there's no announcement. There's no, for the game. There's nothing public-facing about it, and I'm semi-limited in what I can talk about with it, because it is technically the passion project of a AAA developer, not a studio, a dev. But it's got a really cool team working on it, and it's a very neat concept. But we've done quite a bit of music for Salvage on stream here over the past year or so. But it is, we did all these different faction themes, right? So there's 4 primary enemy factions in the game. We did exploration music, combat music for each of those factions. We've done some general pieces. Now we are working on some of the more, I guess you'd say, ancillary songs. So what we were doing a couple of weeks ago was we started work on this set of 4 pieces of what we call dialogue underscore. So these are pieces that are meant to happen while characters are interacting with each other outside of combat. The game is going to be structured, I think, very similar to like Mass Effect, right? Where you go into combat, you go into missions, you raid dungeons, etc., blow things up, loot things, etc. And then you come back and your mission hub is your ship. And so you're interacting with different crew members. You are sometimes negotiating with enemy factions, all this kind of stuff. And all of those conversations, very dialogue tree heavy. Yes, sci-fi, very much sci-fi. Sci-fi RPG shooter. And all of those conversations, those dialogue tree moments need music, obviously. But it's very... it needs to be relatively understated. So we did a piece, and Roller Coaster, I did see your first question a moment ago, or a few minutes ago. I want to answer that, and then I will answer what you just asked here in just a second, because I don't want to, I'm not ignoring you. I promise. This is a very busy stream today. But the idea here is that these should be unobtrusive. They should be pretty low key. We're not talking about really strong melodies. We're not talking about big, strong grooves. We're talking about things that really get out of the way and just serve as an underscore or a bed. That's why we call it underscore. A bed for dialogue, inventory management, all that kind of stuff to happen on top of. So I'm going to pull up the first of these. We have 4 different tracks that we're making for this set. The first one we called it intimate underscore, which is basically for one-on-one conversations with your crew mates. So they could be positive, they could be negative, but it's like hey, I've pulled you aside to have, a one-on-one conversation, or we're like sitting in the ship's canteen late at night reminiscing over a drink, or there may be some kind of like in Mass Effect, there's like kind of a dating light component where you can romance crew members. There might be an element of that, which would also be where this track would come into play. So it's kind of a catch-all for just like low-key, casual, personal, vulnerable, intimate. These were all kind of the keywords for this particular piece. So we can listen to it real quick and get our vibes back on. Then we'll talk about the piece that we're working on today. But Roller Coaster, first of all, you asked, I think people have been exposed to so much stuff nowadays, it's hard to even comprehend when we were talking about genres. I often find myself liking different music as I age. Do you know why this happens? I guess we like things because it hits certain feelings. Yeah, I mean, I think we all change as people as time goes on. And so you know, as you age and mature and your worldview changes, you kind of gravitate towards different things, different vibes. You discover different things. You know, I know for me, I've just gotten nerdier and nerdier the older I get. And so now, like, my main, this, you guys are going to think this is funny, my main listening habits are ambient, true, 45-minute pieces of just like rain and like gentle pads is like what I listen to at night when I'm relaxing. Extremely textural, or like I got really into like Steve Reich a couple of years ago and like postmodern polyrhythmic sort of classical adjacent stuff. But I do know that I read a study recently that was like, there's something to the effect of all, like the bulk of the music that you love, you learn about between 14 and 19. And then that really becomes like most of the soundtrack of the rest of your life. It certainly changes and you find new stuff, but that's when you discover all the tunes that you're like always going to come back to and think are awesome. At least for most people. And that's true of me. That's when I found Soul Coughing. That's when I found Square Pusher. That's when I found Massive Attack and Nujabes and like all the shit that I'm obsessed with was when I was in high school. And want to make and come back to every time. So that's that. But your second question, do you have any plugins that you recommend for vocals? I've thought about buying FabFilter Pro Q and AutoTune Pro. For sure. I have the sauce. I have the best vocal plugin ever, as far as I'm concerned. If Studio One would allow me to use it, which it looks like Studio One is displeased about something because it's not responding to me clicking on it. Studio One, what is going on, buddy? You have frozen for an unknown reason, so we're going to reboot you. The plugin that I am going to pull up for you, though, is called Silk from Waves. And it is a spectral multiband compressor kind of a situation. Oh, boy. What has happened to Studio One? I listen to post-hardcore, but I like to produce epic music. Yeah, absolutely. And like I listen to lots of stuff that I don't actually like actively work in production on. Do we break the program? We appear to have fully broken Studio One because if I hit play, things sound really, really bad at the moment. Give me a second here. I have no idea what just happened to Studio One. If you guys have been watching the stream for a while, you know we have had some yes, no, it's hung in Task Manager, but I have to use PowerShell. Hang on, give me a second here, guys. What's the process ID for you? Oh, God. No, so there was a whole saga a couple of weeks ago about me trying to move away from Studio One because it was crashing all the time. I did a complete reinstall, which was a huge to-do, and I thought that had mostly fixed it, and now here it is completely crashing and burning again, which is pretty lame because it's wasting my time because all I want to do is show this fantastic... Yeah, I know. I know. I know, Windows. You're very upset with me right now. 27936. You missed Studio One crashing again and me having to use Task Kill to fix it. Hang on. /F. Splendid. It's the daily crash. Yeah, absolutely. Hang on, guys. Sorry. 27,936. 27,936. Oh, interesting. Even PowerShell cannot kill it. Wow. Software with PID 7080.